What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name's CJ, and in today's video, we're going to be talking about some NBA player props once again. I've got some points to discuss. We're also going to talk rebounds and a couple of three-point props that I'm really liking. Now, yesterday's video did not do well. I went against the grain, against Vegas, against some of the projections, and it ended up costing me. I went 1 for 5. The only one that hit was the Giannis Antetokounmpo under assist prop. But the good news is we can't get much worse than 1 out of 5, so hopefully it's all up from here. Now you can see on my screen here, I've got a special promotion from PrizePicks that's going on. I don't even know if they've announced this yet. Maybe we're breaking news here, maybe not, I don't know. PrizePicks is running a 2-pick power payout boost tonight. So instead of getting the normal 3x payout on your power plays, you're gonna get a 4x payout boost on all of your 2-pick power plays. Doesn't matter what sport. It could be NBA, it could be MLB, it could be NHL, you name it, your favorite sport, as long as it's a 2-pick power play. And Joel Embiid and Trae Young both combine for 50 or more actual points, real life points, then you'll get that boost from 3x up to 4x. And I'd like to announce my first giveaway that will tie in directly to this promotion that PrizePicks is running. What is that, you say? Well, I've got a lovely PrizePicks snapback that I would love to bless one of you with. Pretty cool here. You can see it's got the little gray snap in the back. Nice little PrizePicks logo on the front. Little green underneath the bill. You can't see it because of my green screen, but yeah, PrizePicks snapback is up for grabs. How do you get your hands on this snapback? Well, that is a great question. When my tweet goes out, tweeting this video out, what you're going to do is you're going to go and give me how many points you think Trae Young and Joel Embiid will combine to score today. Now, it's going to be the person that's closest without going over will win. So if you think that they combine for 65 points, then leave that under today's video tweet. So I'll make it pretty clear. You'll see this video get tweeted out on my Twitter account, which is @CurryTheCreator. If you don't follow me, I'll leave the link down in the description below where you can go and follow me on Twitter, but that's all you have to do. You just have to tell me how many points Trae Young and Joel Embiid will combine to score without going over. The one that's closest will win. If there's a tie for some reason, I'll figure out a way to do a tiebreaker, and we'll make sure that we have a clear-cut, clean winner. So definitely take advantage of today's 2-pick power payout boost for this Joel Embiid and Trae Young promo. If they combine for 50 or more points, you guys get 4x on all your 2-pick power plays. Doesn't matter what sport it is. If you don't play on PrizePicks, now is a great time to go ahead and sign up. Use promo code Curry. You'll get a 100% instant deposit match on your first deposit. You can drop $20. You can drop all the way up to $100. Either way, they're going to double your money, and you'll have plenty of money to get you going. So again, promo code Curry gets you that instant deposit match. I'll leave a link down in the description below, or just use promo code Curry when you head to prizepicks.com. All right, so with that out of the way, we've got a 2-game NBA slate. A lot of crazy news so far in the NBA. We learned that Chris Paul tested positive for COVID-19. He's going to be out indefinitely. Now, luckily for them, their series has wrapped up. Chris Paul will get a little bit of time off, and hopefully he's back for game 1, but I don't know. He might end up missing the first game. The other big news was Kawhi Leonard. Unfortunately, they fear that he has a torn ACL or an ACL injury of some kind. It's serious enough that he's going to miss tonight's game, and it sounds like his availability for the rest of the playoffs is in jeopardy. So his season might have just come to an end with that ACL injury. On top of that, we've got guys like Stan Van Gundy, who has lost his job as the New Orleans Pelicans head coach, as well as Scotty Brooks losing his job as the Washington Wizards head coach. So it's been a busy day in terms of news around the association. With all that out of the way, though, let's go ahead and start talking about today's game. We've got the Atlanta Hawks versus the Philadelphia 76ers. This game tips off at 7:30 Eastern time over on PrizePicks. 224 implied points. Philadelphia a 7-point favorite at home. So pretty big spread. We haven't seen a spread this big in quite some time, but as you can see, Philadelphia, they have kind of taken firm control over this series so far, and it looks like they might end up winning again tonight. based on the Vegas odds makers. Now, the other game we have is a 220.5 implied point total. That's the Los Angeles Clippers at the Utah Jazz. Jazz are 7-point favorites at home. Of course, without Kawhi Leonard, things are going to be very difficult for the Los Angeles Clippers. So you take Kawhi Leonard out of the lineup, that leaves you with Paul George, who has been a little bit, suspect, a little bit questionable in terms of being that lead guy. Can he rally the guys around him, make them better? Can he be the focal point of the offense and lead them to what seems to be an improbable win over this Utah Jazz team? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Mike Conley also has been ruled out for tonight's game, so no Mike Conley once again for the Utah Jazz. All right, a lot of talking and not a lot of prop talking. So let's start getting into some of these props, guys. First one we're going to talk about is Royce O'Neale, who is at 7.5 points. Now, Royce O'Neale has been a model of consistency lately in covering this 7.5 point prop. In fact, I can't remember the last time he hasn't covered. So let's go ahead and check out Royce O'Neale here on Number Fire today. We'll start by typing his name in here, and you can see they've got him projected at 7.1 points. Now, obviously, this is just one site here and one set of projections. They could be wrong. I mean, I personally have him projected for 7.8 points, which is closer to 8 points than it is 7 points. So there you have it, a couple of different projections to lean on for Royce O'Neale. Either way, 7 to 8 points, that's definitely within the realm of possible outcomes here. So let's head over to NBA.com. You can see Royce O'Neale. He scores about 7 points per game during the regular season. Let's go look at his last 5 games here on NBA.com. You can see that he plays a healthy amount of minutes going back to the 5th game in his game log, 36 minutes, ended up with 17 points. And he's got 8 points here, 8, 12, and 8. So he's good for 8 or more points in 5 straight games. Can he keep the streak alive tonight? Well, I sure hope so, especially without Kawhi Leonard out there on the court. Maybe that makes his life a little bit easier. If Kawhi was matched up on him, maybe he gets a softer matchup like a Marcus Morris defending him instead. So I think things are looking pretty good here so far for Royce O'Neale. So let's move things over to RotoWire. We'll take a look at how the various sports books across the industry are lining up here on Royce O'Neale and this 7.5 point prop. So we go and find Royce O'Neale here in the list of names, and you can see that across the board, he's at 7.5 points, minus 139 to go over, minus 128 to go over, and a minus 139 to go over. So that's 3 different sports books that all agree that taking the over on Royce O'Neale is the way that we should be thinking about going here. Yeah, there's a little bit of concern, I guess, for the projections for Royce O'Neale where, it's been a little bit of a knock against him. But even if we go back to his player card here and we click his stats, and then we go down to how well he scored throughout the playoffs, you can see he's appeared in 9 games, 10.1 points per game throughout the playoffs so far. So I'm riding it until the wheels fall off. And so far, the wheels haven't fallen off in a long time. So I'm going to keep with it and hope that Royce O'Neale continues his streak of 8 or more points covering on this 7.5 point prop. All right, with that one out of the way, the next guy I want to talk about is Marcus Morris of the Los Angeles Clippers. Now, just a little while ago when they first posted the Los Angeles Clippers point props up to PrizePicks, he was at 13.5 points. Now he's up to 14.5 points. I mentioned in my Discord prior to recording this video, 13.5 points seemed like it was a little bit too light for Marcus Morris. He will step into a much larger role without Kawhi Leonard around, and I just thought, hey, he could easily hit 14 or more points. Well, they bumped him up to 14.5. That's what PrizePicks line makers, lines movers do. They move things throughout the day. So unfortunately, at 14.5 points, he's a little bit higher than he was earlier, but I still like the over at 14.5 points. And I hope to show you why right now. So we'll go back to Number Fire and we'll type in Marcus Morris. You can see that right off the rip here, he is projected for 16.5 points. That puts him 2 points over his projection of 14.5 points. So that is a pretty big difference there. That makes me feel good about leaning toward the over on Marcus Morris and this points prop. So if we head over to NBA.com, you can see that for the regular season, he has scored 13.4 points per game, putting him really close to 14.5. And this was obviously in a much lesser role than he will take on tonight without Kawhi Leonard in the lineup. So if we scroll down and look at his last 5 games, he's got some pretty polarizing game log so far in the points department. He had 23 points to close out the Dallas Mavericks. Then the first three games to start this series against the Utah Jazz, 9 points, 8 points, and 6 points. But he did bounce back in his last game against Utah with 24 points. Now, I don't know if he scores 24 points again tonight, but I do feel pretty good without Leonard in the lineup that this guy can cover 14.5 points, getting 15 or more. Now let's go ahead and click his stats here, and we'll go and look at how well he's scored throughout the playoffs so far. He's appeared in 11 playoff games so far this season, 32.8 minutes per game, and he's scoring about 11.5 points per game, which is a little bit of a downtick versus where he scored throughout the regular season. But again, I'm going to show you why I think that this number will go up here. Before I do that, look at how many minutes he's projected to play tonight, 36.11 minutes. So let's just call it 36 minutes, make it a nice and clean number. Now, we go over to Roto Grinders. They have a court IQ feature on their site. Now, I have it set for Serge Ibaka, Kawhi Leonard, and of course, Lou Williams is now a Hawk. So all three of those guys are going to be off the court. Now, with those guys off the court and the settings set to a per 36 minute average here, we scroll over to the points column and let's find Marcus Morris here. 21.5 points in a pretty big sample size here too. Almost 350 minutes. So that's 350 minutes that he's played with these three aforementioned guys off the court. Serge Ibaka, Kawhi Leonard, and Lou Williams. So 21.5 points. He's got that kind of upside tonight, guys. This makes me feel pretty confident here that in a 36 minute or more type of situation, he could definitely hit the over on this 14.5 point prop. So then we'll swing things over to RotoWire. We'll head over and look for Marcus Morris here. Now, some of these books have not caught up to the news here with Kawhi Leonard being out. So we've only got one book to reference. Now at 14.5 points though, you can see that people are taking the over here at minus 124. So they do like him to go over this 14.5 point prop. So I tend to agree. I think overall here, there's a really good chance that Marcus Morris goes for 15 or more points. So I'm definitely sticking with it, and I'm going to take the over here on Marcus Morris. So with those points props out of the way, let's move over to rebound props. And I've got one that really caught my eye. I'm actually kind of surprised that it has not been moved yet, and that is Bogdan Bogdanovic of the Atlanta Hawks at 4.5 rebounds. I think he can cover this, and he actually has been covering this with pretty good regularity here recently. So let's head back to Number Fire. We'll click the rebound column. Let's go ahead and type in Bogdan's name. And Bogdan Bogdanovic is projected for 4.9 rebounds today, which is almost at 5 rebounds, putting him in the over category for me. Definitely not looking to go under on this 4.5 rebound prop. So if we move things over to NBA.com, look at his regular season rebounding averages, 3.6 rebounds per game. Pretty decent rebounding totals, but they have gotten better since the start of the playoffs. Let's scroll down and look at his last 5 games real quick. We'll scroll over a little bit here. Looking at the rebound column, how many covers does he have in his last 5 games? Good question. 1, 2, 3. 3 out of his last 5. And in the games that he didn't cover, he came pretty darn close at 4 rebounds in the other 2. So 3 covers, 2 in which he did not cover. So I like those odds. It's over 50%, so that makes me feel pretty good. So let's go ahead and click stats. We'll look at his like holistic playoff averages so far. You can see that he's appeared in 9 playoff games, playing over 37 minutes per game, getting plenty of run to get this 4.5 rebound prop out of the way. You can see that he's averaging 5.9 rebounds per game, nearly 6 rebounds per game, making him, again, a good favorite to go over based on his playoff averages so far. So with that in mind, we'll click back over to RotoWire. Let's click the rebound button down here at the bottom of the RotoWire page. We'll go find Bogey, and you can see at 4.5 rebounds across the industry here. He is a favorite to go over on 1, 2, and 3 books. Minus 139 over, minus 138, and a minus 139. I'm really surprised this has not been bumped up to 5 rebounds. Thankfully for us, it hasn't. And as long as you get him locked in your lineup within 1 hour of this video posting, you should be able to snag him at 4.5 rebounds. So I'm taking the over on Bogdan Bogdanovic and hope that he continues his recent success of rebounding the basketball. All right, so with that one out of the way, we're going to talk about a couple of 3-point props that I was really liking. The first one is Trae Young. Now, Trae Young is at 2.5 3-point makes. And in his last 5 games, he has been covering this in more often than not, I should say. So let's go back over to NBA.com. We got Trae Young's player card pulled up. Let's click stats. And we're going to dig in here and look at his 3-point prop. I've got him projected, by the way, for about 2.5, slightly over 2.5 3-point makes, so 2.52, which gives us just a little bit of an edge, a little bit of a push toward the over here. So if we go down and we look at how well he's been shooting in terms of 3-point makes throughout the playoffs so far, he attempts about 8.4 3-pointers per game, making 2.8. That's good for 32.9%, which is actually not very good for a player of Trae Young's caliber. When you think of Trae Young, you think of a much better shooter than just about 33%. Let's look at how well he shot throughout the regular season, just for comparison's sake. You can see he appeared in 63 different regular season games, 6.3 3-point attempts per game, making 2.2 of them. So his 3-point makes are actually up, although his percentages are down, meaning he's attempting more threes in the postseason than he did in the regular season. But his averages, not great. 34.3%. Kind of surprising. All right, so with that one out of the way, let's move over to RotoWire. We're going to look at the various sports books across the industry, get an idea of how they are leaning on this 2.5 3-point prop for Trae Young. You can see he's a -127 to go over 2.5, a -136 to go over 2.5, and last but not least, a -139 to go over 2.5 3-point makes. So to me, everything seems to favor the over here. If I have to lean one way or the other, it's going to be toward the over on Trae Young in this 2.5 3-point prop. I think he is good to make at least 3 or more. If we open up this new feature here over on PrizePicks, you can see going back to his 5th game in his game log, he covers here with 3, covers with 4, falls short here in his 2nd game against Philly in this series. Then he covers with 3, covers with 3. So he's got 4 out of 5 covers in his last 5 games. So I like the cover percentage there, the conversion rate, whatever you want to call it. It's been pretty darn good here for Trae Young. All right, so with that one out of the way, we've got one more prop that I want to talk about, and it is also a 3-point prop. This one we're talking about is Seth Curry of the Philadelphia 76ers, who has been shooting lights out from beyond the arc since the start of the playoffs here. So he's at 2.5 3-point makes. This is another situation where I'm looking to take the over on Seth Curry. So we'll click stats. We'll move things down and you get a look here at how well he's been shooting throughout the playoffs. Now, he has played in 9 games so far. He is attempting 6.1 3-pointers per game, making 2.8 of them, which puts us over 2.5. And that's good for a 45.5% 3-point field goal percentage. Shooting lights out. Loving the attempts, getting 6+ attempts per game, and I'm loving the makes. He's getting nearly 3 makes per game, so that's looking very good. Now let's flip this over to his regular season averages, and you can see he appeared in 57 regular season games. He attempted just 4.9, or let's just call it 5 3-pointers per game, making 2.2 of them, good for 45%. So his 3-point attempts are up, his makes are up, and his 3-point field goal percentage is slightly up in the playoffs versus the regular season. So if we go back here and we take a look at his profile, we can look at his last 5 games and see how well he's been doing here throughout this series. You can see that he's attempting, 6 3-pointers, he made 3, 9 3-pointers, he made 5, 6, he made 5 attempts, he made 2, so he failed to cover on this one. But then finally, in his last game, 6 3-pointers attempted. He made half of them, which was good for 3 makes. So he's got 4 covers out of his last 5 games. Similar to Trae Young, has just been crushing this 2.5 3-point prop with pretty good consistency. So last but not least, we're back over to RotoWire. Seth Curry's at 2.5 3-point makes on 2 different sports books. We got him at -139 to go over here and a -136 to go over there. So I love it. This is another situation similar to Trae Young, similar to Royce O'Neale's points, where I'm just going to keep riding these guys until the wheels fall off. They have been covering with very good, very high consistency. I don't see any reason why we should get cute, why we should be any different and look to take the under on any of these guys. Let's just keep riding it. hopefully it keeps hitting for us. So that's going to do it for today's video. Definitely make sure that you're following me on Twitter at Curry the Creator. When this video gets tweeted out, you're going to go underneath the video. You're going to let me know how many points you think Trae Young and Joel Embiid will combine for. The person who gets the closest without going over their combined total will win that PrizePicks hat that I showed you at the beginning of the video. I'm going to pay for the shipping myself. I'll make sure that it gets to you. We'll DM through Twitter to set up all of that stuff for the winners. So definitely want you guys to participate. Make sure you get your guesses in there when this video goes up. And that's going to do it for today. Let me know what props you're liking. Maybe there's some props that you're hating. Maybe there's some props that I didn't talk about that I didn't mention in the video. Leave a comment down in the comment section below, guys. Good luck tonight over on PrizePicks. Let's root for Joel Embiid and Trae Young to go over 50 points so we could get that 4x payout boost on our 2-pick power plays. My name's CJ. This is going to do it for you. Until the next video, guys. Good luck. Peace.